Hi everyone, today is February 17th, 2018, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger.
And I'm Deck Tech.
And there hasn't been a ton going on in Duel Links except for one big thing, and that is the Kaiba Cup. Last week, I think we started Stage 1, it was going on, and this week, we got entrance into Stage 2 if you qualified for Duel Level 20 in Stage 1. Or if you got King of Games in the previous month. So we're both playing the Kaiba Cup, and currently we're in different stages right now, but we're trying to put our all into it, and we're going to play more after this podcast, too. So, Deck Tech, where are you up to?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. One of us is in Stage 2 this week. I am the one who is not. I decided I actually put down Hearthstone for a couple days with the intention of going to focus on Duel Links so that I could try to beat you, Green Ranger, in this little competition we got going on. And then, unfortunately, reality just had other thoughts about that, and my phone died. It had been kind of old, and I was thinking about getting a new one for a little while, and then it just decided that now was the time, and it just would not charge anymore. So it's completely dead, and that means that I can only play on desktop, which for the last couple days just hasn't really been an option. So I basically haven't played at all in the last 2 days, which has put me pretty far behind. I'm at, I think, Duelist level 16, still in Stage 1. But we're going to talk a little bit more about how the competition's going and everything like that. But basically at this point, Stage 1 has gotten fairly easy, so I expect that I should be able to get out of there by the end of the day or something. I have a little bit of time to play today. So hopefully I can do that. And then I get a phone. We're going to the mall later so that I can get my phone fixed or replaced. And then I'll be able to play hard tomorrow as well.
You could be that guy in the new Apple commercial, like your own version. They can't play games. It's just like, oh. That's a Samsung commercial. Never mind.
I didn't even know what you were talking about either way because, who watches commercials anymore, man?
Oh, man.
You. And I guess we could talk a little bit more about the decks we're using at the end. But I was running Volcanics for a bit, and it worked exactly okay. It's definitely was not the best use of my gems last week. But
are you playing like a full version with all the rockets?
I was playing... No, because I couldn't get 3 rockets.
Yeah.
But I'm also not even sure if 3 rockets is correct. Having played it a little bit, it seems excessive. I'm not sure if maybe I'm missing something or if I played it more, I would think 3. But I was running it with 2 and with 2 Snipe Hunter because that's what I had. And it seemed to be, like I said, it was okay. I think I had more success with the version that I kind of combined it with Red Eyes. And I was doing it with the Red Eyes normal so that I could run the, called? Champion's Vigilance.
Oh, Champion's Vigilance, okay.
Yeah, but I might be doing, there's probably still some more room to experiment, but at this point I just want to buckle down to something that I know works so that I can at the very least get out of Stage 1, because it'd be really embarrassing if I couldn't even get to Stage 2. So we're going to get there today, really. How about you? What are you up to?
Yeah, I already got King of Games, as I mentioned last month, so I just did the Stage 1 for all the gems, and there were a lot of gems, so just try hard to get through Stage 1. From Duel Level 13 to 20, I played Bujins, and I did this because I had 3 Yamato, and that's pretty much the main card you go for. Just to tell everyone how to build it, you pick Restart, and you restart for Yamato. That's as simple as it gets, how you play Bujins. And it was pretty easy, actually, to get to Stage 2. Though I did get... it took a while, honestly. To get that last Duel Level 19 to 20, you needed, 4 out of 5, I believe, or 3 out of 4. It's not really a streak, but it's how many games out of 4 or 5. So, that did get my volume up, my ranked duel volume. I'm over 100 now, so a lot of it thanks to Stage 1, actually. Just playing a lot of games.
Yeah, I'm at 45, so that'll kind of tell you where one of the issues is with that whole missing a couple days.
And so I actually felt very comfortable playing Bujins for some reason, so I decided to start with it in stage 2. And then I'll discuss this later, but then I ran into a problem. It's basically Saphira. Hard counters Bujins, like how it works. I didn't know what Saphira did, like the second effect or something, so that's what happened. And I don't stick to a single deck. That's just me. I get impatient, so I've played 3 different decks in stage 2, and dinosaurs are kind of pulling away now. So I think I'm sticking to dinosaurs until I lose like 3 in a row, and then I switch back to Bujins or something. But I've got like 7,000 duel points, more than that, because you gain extra every time you win. But it's like 7,200, so that means I have like a +7 differential. That's what I like to call it. Rank 7,000 about. It's probably changed now within the hour since I checked. So yeah. I'm probably not going to stay here. Like, I'm just going to keep playing. I'm not going to, like, hold on to this rank 7,000, because you get an SR ticket no matter where you stand in stage 2. It's just like getting a rare ticket if you're rank 10,000 or 3,000, I forget. No, it's 30,000, I believe. You get a rare ticket, so I should be good. I shouldn't play bad enough to get back to 0 by now, but, I mean, you don't know. Like, I can't lose 7 games in a row. Like, I just don't have that in me. Like, I'll quit after 3 and I'll come back later. And that's just me. And in the regular Duel World, I just leveled Kaiba to 40, which is surprising because he was the first character I picked, and he's the last character I leveled up to 40. So everyone is done for me now.
Hey, now you're part of the club, and now you can complain with me about how half the game's useless until they change something.
Should be soon. Maybe, unless it's the eternal wait.
Yeah, I don't remember our future announcements from last week. Do we know if anyone's coming down the pike?
Well, there are various GX characters that we know are coming eventually, and people are complaining how we have not gotten any GX characters since launch. Playable ones. We haven't.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a bunch of them coming, I assume.
Wasn't Crowler part of the not initial bunch?
I think he was released, like, right away with
like a week after or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then I'm on page with that.
Yeah. So, and, yeah, there's, like, just old data mines. You see, like, cards that people have. Like, they have voice lines for certain cards that... Like, even the basic characters that we don't have in the game, so stuff is coming down the line eventually. It'll be Duel level 50 before we know it.
Yeah, and obviously they're not going to release someone in the middle of the KC Cup, and I don't know. The scheduling, they always have something going on, and it seems like it's about time. Usually what happens is, because when I have a phone, I can just auto duel like at work and stuff while I'm working, if my boss is listening. I usually get to the max level before most players.
Yeah.
But I have been there for a while now, so I expect it's probably getting to the point where a lot of players are there.
Yeah.
And so it's probably time to bump it up again soon, or give us another new character or something. And
what's your strategy now? Like, do you pick characters that you want skills for and use them to, like, play the roaming duelists?
No, I'm just lazy and I just play with whoever I'm using for PvP. I don't switch it anymore.
Yeah, it's probably cool to get balance for everyone, so you could just trick people. Like when you're playing like a balanced deck and they don't expect it or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, since I don't play in like tournaments and stuff, that aspect's less important because it tells you balance right at the very start of the game.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It would only be misinformation if like you were in one of those tournaments where you have to tell the other side what heroes or characters you're using, like they did with the world champs. So that'd be interesting, but not really an issue for me.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move into this week in esports. There's a bit of esports news going on. I think everyone stopped playing by the time the Kaiba Cup started Stage 2, but there were some competitions that happened in the middle. Uh,
Yeah.
MCS Weekly number 7. This happened on Tuesday. Total of $287. First place, Kaki. This is a new name, I believe. And this deck is a deck I've lost to before in the past. It's Grass Looks Greener Magnets.
Yeah.
Straight to the Grave is the skill. And, it's like a 30 card deck. 9 are Magnet Warriors. And 3 are Grass Looks Greener. And you have the Gaia Plates, of course. That's a very necessary component to free summon with your rock monsters. I guess rocks kind of have a gimmick of being banished or being sent to the graveyard, and various graveyard effects. Basically how you do it, what this point of this deck is, you cheat out Valkyrian thanks to Delta's ability to special summon him from the graveyard. Yeah, it's pretty strong. It's really bursty. Like, you just get Valkyrian out and a Magnet Warrior, and then that's the game.
Yeah, it seems like a really cool deck. I've always liked Reanimator style decks, and this is a pretty Reanimator heavy. Fill up your graveyard with good things to special summon, and then special summon them either from your graveyard or using your graveyard as a resource to special summon something from your deck. And the something, of course, because you're going through all of that hassle, tends to be something pretty big and imposing and can win the game pretty quickly from that. And this just seems dope. I have 2, I think, that Grass Looks Greener at this point. I'm just waiting on that third one to show up at the trader.
And they are making use of Tackle Crusader, which is cool. We were thinking about whether it makes a cut in a 30-card deck, but here it easily does in a tournament setting. I feel like you just fill it with stuff, because Block Golem, like if you're missing something, you could put like 3 of them in there. You could put like another Valkyrian if you're missing Gaia Plate, things like that, maybe.
Yeah, I think when you have a 30-card deck and when a major portion of the deck's purpose is just to put things in the graveyard, you have a lot more liberty to you got some wiggle room.
Yep. And the side deck has Gladiator Beast and Doll, which has since become a popular tech to steal Gladiator Beast cards. Attack the Moon was a staple in Magnets. It was a very good card. And Wall of D. Good against many decks.
Yeah. I remember Attack the Moon was kind of like the reason why you would run Magnets for a bit.
Yeah. Second place, S. Akuma, the inventor of Snipe Res. This is a straight to the grave version, unlike the version I played, which was Tie That Binds. Let's see. 1 Snipe Hunter. This deck is pretty much standard. 24 cards it's a 24 card res deck with Storm. It's pretty standard right now. You have 2 zombies, 2 Red Eye Zombie Dragons instead of 3. Bacon Saver, Wyvern, Gozuki, Samurai Skulls. Skill Successor, again, showing up as a popular card in res.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting, but I think that the choice of Straight to the Grave and also Skill Successor, that's all because they work well with Storm.
Yeah.
Obviously, the plan, I guess, is that you can kind of make early tempo plays with just having a little bit of that buff with the Straight to the Grave, and then at the end of the game, it's fodder so that you can clear the way and have one final push with your Storm. I also thought it was funny that the sideboard has 2 4-star Ladybug of Doom.
That card's coming back.
Which you and I, we were talking about it. It's coming back. We saw a little bit of it in the KC Cup. It shows up in another one of the deck's sideboards, I think, in this event, or in one of the other ones we talk about. So it's coming back.
I hit into one of those, and I had like one of those tilt moments where I just paused and did nothing for like 10 seconds. Like, normally I just end my turn, but I just stopped doing everything for 10 seconds, and then it's like, okay, it happened.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I had the same thing happen where it's this card that we haven't had to play around for
half a year, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, like half a year, and then all of a sudden it's here, and it does make some sense because there's a lot of decks are relying on 4-star monsters again. We kind of had this phase where we just totally skipped over 4-star monsters and everything with special summons of giant guys and stuff like that. But now that they've nerfed that a little bit, or a lot because of multiple nerfs, it seems like 4-star monsters are a lot more important again. So I guess 4-star Ladybug of Doom is a lot more important again, at the very least in these events where you can have it in your sideboard.
Tied third place, Choke on My Duck. This is a Mindskin Gladiator Beast deck. It's a bit of an uncommon build in that there's 3 Sphere Karibos. Let's see. Half Shut, Chalice. It doesn't run the impenetrable attacks, which we've seen in... It's kind of dependent on which build you use, I guess. This one is more of... I guess the Mindskin aspect of it is pretty important in winning the mirror match. It's one of the best mirrors against Gladiator Beasts, because you could play around their impenetrable attacks and things like that. Yeah. And of course, this version probably has fusion monsters, I assume. Sometimes you try to play passive against Gladiator Beasts because you know they have face down, so you're waiting for your back row clears. And they just fuse into Azadari or Necrolus, and then Necrolus is especially hard to deal with because it kind of acts like Ancient Gear Golem. It attacks, and it can't be destroyed by battle. So you need... The only card that could do it is Super Rush Headlong, and then you can't even activate that in the battle phase. So you have to, put your toggle on and try to counter a dark monster or things like that. So it's definitely hard to deal with.
Yeah, I hadn't had a ton of experience with Glad Beasts prior to the KC Cup because I wasn't really going super hard on PvP. And it kind of surprised me because I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that there's this whole aspect of it with the fusion monsters. But it does seem like that's a great way to kind of power through, because the Glad Beasts are good for... they're good value cards, but none of them are huge. I think the biggest one that you frequently see is 2100, which is smaller than the special summons that are common, or ritual monsters and stuff. So those fusion monsters are a good way to kind of give it that extra up after it's kind of gotten the ball rolling a little bit, which is a good way for the deck to kind of close games out.
Yep, it's a very good deck. I just don't have enough cards to play it, definitely.
Yeah.
And another tied for third is B Tom F. This is a balance version of Gladiator Beast. It's either Mindskin or balance. Sometimes you see a Taya one, but this is balance. This is the more conventional build that I see. It has impenetrable attack, which is just amazing. No Sphere Karibos, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the two options kind of work in the inverse of one another, right? So the point of the Sphere Karibos is that you turn their guys into defense position so that you can attack your Glad Beasts into them. And then the point of impenetrable attack is kind of the inverse, where you put your guys in defense position and let their guys attack into it, and it doesn't matter. Or it helps, because it lets you tack out.
It also plays around Super Rush Headlong, I know that. I've fallen victim to that move. Yeah, so that's Duelist Meta Weekly number 7.
I wanted to talk about, before we move
balance.
on. Yes, about the balance skill. So I like B Tom F's kind of composition here. I think I'm seeing something, but I'm not 100% sure. So the main deck has 7, 4, 8 breakdown. That's 7 monsters, 4 spells, and 8 traps. And that means that he is guaranteed to get a monster and a trap, and then is pretty likely to get a spell every game, and then one card is going to be, whatever. And so the sideboard, however, is 1, 3, 1. And what I'm noticing there is that means he might be planning to put in the 3 spells so that he can get the spell up to 7, and then probably take out traps because you're going to need your Glad Beast. So he could make it either 7 or 8 monsters with that 1 monster there, and then 7 spells, and then switch it to only 4 or 5 traps. And that way you can guarantee you get a spell. And my thinking there was that if your spell is kind of like a tech card or a card that's super important, in a matchup, then you have a much better shot of getting that specific card that's really important in that matchup. But then I was a little bit unsure if that's really what he was going for here, because most of the spells, both in the main deck and in the sideboard, are just econs and super rushes. He only has one kind of tech card. Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure if that's what he was going for here, but the numbers make me think there has to be something, and I guess there are certain matchups where you really want econs, so it kind of makes sense that that might be the case.
Yeah, people have tried to conduct analyses on balanced math, and I think I forget who, Game A or someone in DK's group, they put up like a little graph. It's like a percentage graph of how many cards and the probability of it starting in your hand, and that definitely has something to do with the numbers you just mentioned.
Yeah, I don't actually know since they've nerfed it, they made it a little bit more complicated.
It's random.
But I heard the number was 7. That if you get
7,
if you're running a 20 card deck and you have 7, then you're guaranteed to get that card in the deck. And I think the reason why is because, as I understand the skill to work now, what it does is it takes your deck and it divides it by 3 for the 3 major types of monster spell trap, and then that's kind of so if you're running 20 cards decks, a 20 card deck, then it's like whatever that is, 6 2/3. You need 6 2/3 of that type of card to fill that slot, I guess. And then the 4th card is just going to be random from all of the remainder of the deck. So obviously you can't have a partial card in your list, so you go with 7 to make sure that you get that. If you have 7 or more in a 20 card deck, then you'll get one of those in your starting hand.
Yeah. All right. Enough NA math for now. Well, we'll talk about the next thing.
Definitely what that was.
Duel Links Pro Tournament Weekly number 1. They just started it. People wanted it to happen, so it's happening. I contemplated competing in this tournament, but I did not have time. Maybe in the future. Yeah, so they didn't post deck lists, but they had like a Twitch stream of it. And catching the top 4, first place Heaglian Boy, second place Ben Yed, third place Caps, third place Hawk Jackie B. 3 out of 4 of these were Red Eye Zombies. And Heaglian Boy was first place and he played Tide That Binds Rez. Ben Yed played a 24 card Straight to the Grave, which could have been the Snipe Hunter version. I think when you run 24 cards, it usually is the Snipe Hunter version. And Hot Jackie B also played a Straight to the Grave Res. Caps played Mind Scan Gladiator Beast. So Red Eye Zombie, in its non-conventional sense, not really the beatdown version that we were used to. It's kind of the side version, has become dominant in this weekly tournament.
Sorry, if you handed off to me there, I lost my headphones for a sec. So
okay,
let's
just
mark
Rez is doing good.
Rez is doing good. That's true.
Yeah. Next one is the Duel Links Challenger Series number 9. They've been going on for a while, but we just didn't really cover it. There weren't too many announcements about it, but then we discovered it on Discord, so we are going to start covering it. It seems like the Discord's run by Kaito, who, if you remember, is the first champion of the Duel Links Meta Championship Series. And the winner of the deck played a really annoying deck. Let's see, where is this deck? Alright. So I don't know what you call this deck. It's an extra deck, but it has elements of mill, burn, and stall. And it seems like it's fairly equal of what it does. But the whole deck is 1 Sphere Karibo, 2 Warm Worms, 1 Ghost Trick Yukiona, 3 Golden Ladybugs, 1 Outstanding Dog Moran, 2 Temple of Mind's Eye, 2 Floodgate, 2 Rainbow Life, 1 Wild Tornado, 2 Des Counterblow, 1 Curse of Anubis, 3 Massive Morph. You've seen these cards in different elements, but Outstanding Dog Moran is a card that we've never really seen. And it basically, when it gets destroyed, it goes back into your deck. So it's a stall card, I guess. Sideboard includes Lava Golem, Sphere Karibo, 4-star Ladybug of Doom, and Disappear. The Wild Tornado is a bit of a, spell removal, but I guess there's a lot more back row destruction nowadays, so it could be a monster removal as well.
Yeah, it could be. The Outstanding Dog, I'm looking them up. Is it destroyed? No, yeah. So it's
battle,
just
right?
it's just sent to the graveyard.
Oh, so that's every time. That's every time.
Right. Yeah. So I'm thinking the deck is primarily just to stall them out, and I think the temples might be more defensive than offensive because if you have a temple out and then maybe you've locked down a couple slots because of massive morphs and floodgates, and then you have the stupid, what are they called, the life-gaining ladybug things? The golden ladybugs, then you just basically can't lose, right? Because they can only attack for 1,000 and you're gaining 1,500.
Yeah.
And then you have a couple cards here just to mill them out. And looks super annoying. I really hate this deck.
Golden Ladybug is really annoying with Destiny Draw. I've played against that. Because they keep abusing it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that too. This is, it looks like a really powerful deck. I've seen this type of deck in various forms. Some of them are... I like that this one's at least actively trying to mill you out instead of just, waiting for you to run out of cards. But even this version just seems like games would take forever.
Yeah. I agree.
His sideboard has 2 ladybugs as well. 4-star ladybugs.
4-star ladybugs. Ladybugs are just annoying in general.
Yeah.
Alright. So we're going to move on from esports right now into a new item. Kaiba Cup cheaters caught. They're actually caught this time, which is interesting. The tradition, the Kaiba Cup brings a lot of cheaters. In this game in general, it's it's the Yu-Gi-Oh way in the show. Cheating is a common plot device. Konami is trying to crack down this time. There have been various types of cheats, but not as wide-reaching as last time. They've actually banned people. They found accounts that you were using the cheat and banned them. I've heard this. I've heard how this works is people were copying Cyber Angel Edaton and other cards that you only get one copy of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which seems like a really dumb way to cheat. Because
it's really obvious.
Yeah, they know that you're only supposed to have one, and everyone in the game knows. So, and we don't have the report function yet, but you can still, email them and, send them stuff. Hey, this dude had 2 Edatons. So, I've heard that there's also other ways of cheating that are kind of being, that are cropping up as well. I saw something on Reddit about it that are harder to detect. But at least Konami's, putting in some work and doing what they have to do to prevent some of the forms of cheating. And like you said, I couldn't say that I've faced any cheating at all in the KC Cup. I had a couple just random where it's failed to connect or game failed or whatever, and I just lost or won for no reason. But I have no reason to suspect specifically that it was cheating. It could very well have just been some sort of issue with either my phone, which was on its way to dying, or the servers, because that kind of thing happens. And so I do think that Konami's done a really good job of either probably not completely preventing cheating, but doing a really good job of preventing it from soiling this KC Cup, which seems to have had far fewer issues with it than the last one did.
Yeah, we're halfway through the KC Cup, and I was just the beneficiary of a time limit win. The first game I ever played, I had a time limit win, and I can't say I did anything to deserve it. I was going to lose the game, and my opponent was just doing a lot of extra stuff. They were drawing extra cards with Saphira when they had the win condition, and they just lost because of hubris, I guess, or something took too long, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, Konami did a really good job. It's definitely an improvement over the last one. Alright. Espa Roba is back as a PvE thing, and he's back till 22nd, so a few more days. New rewards. We talked about Master Gig and DD Talipon last week. These cards, they're not. The Master Gig is just too big. It's like it's never gonna get down on the board. And DD Talipon maybe has some use over eventually. We just need more monsters to make it useful, like banish effects and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, we need more banish effects. We talked about a couple of them. I think you brought up, what was the name of that trap?
Dimension Gate.
Yeah, Dimension Gate seemed like a cool move. Master Gig it's a super strong effect, but like you said, it's just too hard to get out. It's a 2 tribute guy, which in itself like counters the effect because you want more psychics on the board to make the effect stronger. And so I think that one would only see play if there's a good way to cheat him out that does not involve using your life points, because you're already using your life points in other ways for the deck. So it's possible there might be some use for him down the line, but it doesn't seem apparent, and we haven't seen any use for either of them since the event has gone live or anything. So early indications are that neither one is particularly good at this point.
Yeah, Master Gig's definitely hurt by our format. It would definitely be better if we had more life points and 5 monster zones for a card like that.
Yeah, for sure.
The one we did not see last week is Psychic Overload, and it's a trap card. It's an SR, so you try to get 3 of them if you can. I don't think you really need 3 of them, even if you are running like a deck with it, but it doesn't hurt. It's a trap card, targets 3 psychic monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 3 into your deck and draw 2. A very good card advantage recycling card.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment that we're probably not going to need 3, even in decks in which we'd use it. It seems like probably a 2-of type card, I would guess. It does not. It has a requirement, obviously, that you have 3 guys in the graveyard, and it itself doesn't really do anything, but that card advantage is huge. We've talked about it a million times, how Pot of Greed is busted, and situational Pot of Greeds might be good. And we already saw it happen once very recently with the bamboos, so this is obviously far more limited because it has to be in Psychics, and you have to have 3 Psychics in your graveyard, but there's a couple good ways to get cards in your graveyard, including things like Econ Take. So I wouldn't be super surprised if when Psychics do make their comeback, this card is in some capacity.
I feel like this would see play if we have some other types of Psychics, not the ones that we have currently. Like, the ones we play right now are really aggro, I think, and this seems like a more of like a control-y, like a more of like a comeback card, in that the Psychics that we have now, the game's over already to use it.
Yeah, that might be true. I was thinking when I played a little bit of Psychics, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago now, for some people, such as myself, you don't have like the full Psychic suite, so I only had one, I think, Power Injector. I only had one of the guys that you're normally supposed to run 2 or 3 of, and so if that one guy got targeted by something or just got somehow killed, then my deck was like significantly weaker, and so it seemed much stronger to be able to put him back into my deck and then draw cards again and give myself a little bit of a refill and a second shot at it if I couldn't win on that first run through. So I don't know if maybe that's just because my version is lacking, or if all versions could also stand to gain from something like that.
No, I agree. The Borg, I think you're talking about the Borg, but the Borg has like 500 defense, and he just dies. And if they're dead, you're pretty much lose the game. Like, well, the Bastion version is a little better at it than the previous version, because all your guys are pretty strong with the field, but it is your strongest monster that continually gains attack.
Yeah.
Espa Roba is also giving you pulse mines if you want to play Ancient Gears, which is not that good right now, but it's a bit of a crossover card. I don't think we've seen this. Like, Crowler gives it, and now Espa Roba gives it. It's kind of a new thing that they're doing, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it kind of explains why I have so many of them. I was wondering why I have 5 of those and not nearly as many of any of the other rewards, but
Yeah.
thanks for reminding me.
And to farm him, Dark Paladin works decently. It's not as good as it was in the Chaz event because you have to account for his traps. And you have to kill any monster that has Gravity Blaster because they continually gain attack. If they switch to the defense, destroy it. If it's a reflect bounder, you have to attack it, so you're going to take damage because it's just going to get stronger and destroy your Dark Paladin.
Yeah.
The best way to get a good score is to 2 tribute summon your Dark Magician or Buster Blader because you're playing Dark Paladin. I found that playing the Fiend Mega Cyber only got me 7,900 duel assessment. And there's no campaign going on, so that kind of sucks. And the 2 tribute Dark Magician or Buster Blader gave me more. I think it's because I have a prismatic or a glossy Buster Blader, so that's why that happened. You need anti-magic arrows for your last attack. And beware of Jinzo Returned, because it attacks you directly. So if you're at 1600 and 2 of them are on the board, it's game over. So, yeah.
Yep. So he's a little bit tricky. I personally haven't even been dealing with it. Not for any reason except that since I've been talking about it, I've had very limited game playing time. So instead of spending it trying to farm him, I've just been getting in a couple games into the KC Cup when I could. So hopefully once the event's over, I can actually sit down and get into some of his new rewards.
The drops are a little better than the previous event, though. Like, I'm done already, so yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm just bragging about everything, So.
I know.
Yeah. Bonz and Mokuba at the Duel Gate. They're not going to have their events anymore. I think that's the best way. I don't know if that's what it means. I know Mokuba you can get from playing bingo. I forget how you get Bonz. He was at the end of like a duel-a-thon, I think, right? During Halloween.
Yeah, I think Bonz just had an event which was duel-a-thon in structure, and then if you played it through enough times, got a couple points, then you got him. It was obviously a fairly low bar because they wanted to make sure you could get him if you wanted him. So
yeah,
I think that's how it was. But
there's that thing about how he wanted to leave Duel Links. Like they scared away one of the standard duelists. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because he was too ugly. It's basically what it was. Yeah. And then Yugi played lawyer. Decided that wasn't what happened.
Yeah. Bonz has mostly ghost trick cards. I think the only Bonz cards that people play now is the Yugioh, which is a level up reward. So, you can't really farm that card.
Yeah.
Mokuba has some of the interesting cards that we have seen before in the past. Frost Flame Dragon, Dark Flare, and Kinmodo.
Yeah, these are all kind of like fun cards that I'm actually seeing a moderate amount of because I'm still in stage 1. They're obviously not the meta cards. They're kind of more for tier 4 decks or for fun decks, but depending on where you are in just your progression in the game or, what you want out of it, these might be cards that you're really interested in grabbing because they're just kind of cool and fun cards. I always like it when I get to play with them.
Kinmodo is a really big deal at a point, right? I feel like out of all these cards, like when people were trying to put Blue Eyes into their decks, just a really easy way to cheat it out.
Yeah, I think probably Kinmodo had the biggest impact out of them. I know that Dark Flare and Frost Flame both got a lot of hype, and people thought they were going to be super good, and then they kind of were less than super good. So they more quickly died out, but I'm totally down with at some point bringing back. Dark Flare feels like it might at some point work because we're getting like more and more BLS stuff, and it's just a decent card. And Frost and Flame's a little bit weird because those there's less support for putting those cards in the graveyard, but there's still some. And I remember I tried various things to make that one work. It didn't quite ever click, but it's just kind of, these are just fun cards.
Yeah. Crowler's coming back tomorrow, I guess. I didn't realize. I think it's the next day. because we're in
It's
different time zone.
it's probably after the KC Cup ends, right?
Yeah,
KC
right
Cup's
after.
ending, they're going to do some maintenance, and then Crowler's coming.
Yeah. So he's bringing new rewards. I think you can unlock him if you don't have him yet. So definitely do it, because Ancient Gears could just make a comeback, and you never know.
Yeah, and even though it's not like the best deck now, it's still good enough. I'm seeing a moderate amount of it in stage 1. People are doing okay with it. I played it at the start of stage 1. I like the deck. I think it's got some strengths, and it's cheap because you get all the cards from just playing against Crowler and leveling Crowler up. So it's really easy for someone with a more limited collection, especially, to use it. And it's going to be, tier 2 or tier 3 for a while, but that's still better than a lot of other things that might otherwise be available to you.
Yeah, and people are playing various combinations of Ancient Gears into other decks. Like, they just need the 2 Ancient Gear Golems and the skill, and they mix it with a certain other deck. So you see that, you're starting to see that a lot sometimes. Not a lot, but like in the competitive scene.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week with Red Eyes, and I remember a while back, you told me, I think someone was doing that with the Cyber Angels. Yeah, and I tried it out as well. So, like you said, people kind of tend to do that. It works well with Snipe Hunter as well, because then if you get that extra Ancient Gear Goal and can't do anything with it, you can discard it. So, kind of makes sense.
Yep. A new item is the Master Gate keys are bugged with event gates, so they are being disabled while they're sorting them out.
Yeah, so you guys will remember these things are brand new from last week, and I guess they didn't quite sort out all the bugs with them before they released it, and don't think they can get it done before the event, which starts either tomorrow or the next day. So they're just going to kind of put that on pause for a little bit until they figure it all out, which I respect. It's a bummer that they couldn't get it all sorted out ahead of time to make it work how they wanted to. Like I pointed out, the Master Gate keys are kind of useless to me outside of maybe that event use that they didn't intend. But, oh well.
And they cost real money, so that's kind of a different thing. They should just give them, like, the people who have one, like, 2, like an extra few as an apology or something. So, since they paid real money for it, so.
Yeah, I guess my opinions on that would depend on whether or not it seemed like they could be used for this purpose or not. Like if people were misled when they bought it versus just if it said it was for normal stuff. I don't know. I've never even considered getting one. I certainly wouldn't if it's only purchasable with real monay. Yeah.
Once that dollar sign's there, you just gotta be careful.
Yeah. Trick.
It's a free to play life that we live.
Not really, but I'm not
free to play. Yeah. I'm not free to play completely. Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. All right.
The cheap to play life.
Yeah. The Duel School. So we're finally gonna talk about the Kaiba Cup. We're the third-rate duelists. Talk about the Kaiba Cup because there were definitely some memorable games, even though we're in different stages. Crazy things are going on in the Kaiba Cup. That was quite a bit different from the last time. Maybe if we were super high level, we would see more consistency, but some crazy stuff is going on right now.
Yeah, I think my experience is definitely in part due to where I am. So I've written it down here. So I guess that confirms that I am at Duelist level 16 in stage 1 at this point. Pretty much cruising. For a while, I was running the Snipe Hunter Volcanic Red Eyes kind of hybrid thing that I homebrewed, and it was working okay. But the fact that it was working okay versus players who were definitely less experienced than me in PvP, almost everyone I was facing had, because it shows their little PvP history, almost everyone I was facing had less experience than I did in PvP, and presumably had like a smaller collection and stuff. And so there's like, when you're seeing your opponent playing a suboptimal deck and or making misplays, and you're still either losing or just barely beating them, you're like, okay, maybe this deck that I'm running is not that good. It's super fun, though. It reminds me of the Venus decks
Yeah.
that I really enjoyed playing back when those were kind of a thing. And so I was having some fun with it, but I ended up switching because obviously I have to get out of stage 1 by the end of this event. And I'm, like I said, planning to get there by the end of the day. But to do that, I switched to Dinos, which is just kind of like the easiest, best deck that I just had readily available to me without needing to learn really anything new. And I'm sure I'll get there soon. But in the meantime, I had just like the craziest game where I lost game 1, or turn 1, which was turn 2 of the game of Dinos. I played a big dinosaur and had set a trap and econ, I think, to kind of protect myself. And dude comes out with Gyaku formation, other Gyaku formation. Yeah. Two of them to lock down both of my things. And then he played a guy who, I don't even know what it's called, but it's free if you control a Gyaku formation.
Is it the Raven guy? I've seen that guy.
He looked kind of like a samurai, and he was a fire type, I think. Maybe might be called
Brotherhood something.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So he played that guy for free because you could special summon it, I guess. And then I think he tributed it for a hazy, which was the hazy that you could tribute to get out 2 more hazies.
Yeah.
And then the one hazy was the special summon one if you call the top card correctly. So he called the top card correctly and got him a 3rd monster, activated beatdown, trampled over my big old dino, which was at 2180 or 2150. So it was pretty much the biggest thing you could play on turn 1. And since he had locked down my back row, I couldn't do anything about it, and just trampled over and beat me on turn 1 with the other 2 guys. And I'm just like, wow, that was quite the turn 1 of, like, no matter what I did, I was dead on that one. So that was my 1 ounce of salt. And then the second one was just, even though Weevil decks aren't that common and probably aren't super good, just by virtue of them not being that common, I have to assume it's because they're not super good. It seems like every time I play one, they just have the perfect draw. Every single time they have at least 1 Jade Whistle in their starting hand. They have Jade Whistles equal to the number of parasites they put into my deck in their starting hand every time, somehow. And they always have Lava Golem too. So on my turn 1, I play a guy. On their turn 1, they Jade Whistle. I take 1,000 damage. They Lava Golem. Like, every single time it goes the same way. Yeah. I don't know why.
You know, Boojins were actually pretty good against Weevil. I think they were the best deck against Weevil because every time they target something, you could kind of swap it out. So that they definitely reversed it against those annoying Weevil decks. They're less good against other decks, but yeah, I faced the Weevil too. I wasn't victim to Jade Whistle, but I feel like I hit into 3 massive morphs within the first few turns, so that was it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really appropriate that the most consistently annoying character to play against is Weevil, because that's kind of his character. So, yeah. But I hate him. Yep.
It's funny he's not really playing insects. Like, he's playing Burn in Duel Links. Like, no one's playing insects. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're pretty terrible. But, but yeah, he's at least somewhat in character with the annoying factor. So my experience has been, I'm mostly playing, the one most common thing I'm facing is Glad Beasts, and everything else is kind of just a smattering of things, and a lot of them aren't really meta decks because I'm late into the event and still in stage 1. You are in stage 2, so you're probably seeing a little bit closer to what the competitive meta looks like. What are you facing?
Yeah, so to begin, like I mentioned, I went in with Boojins, and the first 2 games I played against were Saphira Cyber Angels. And how it works is if Saphira is on the board and another light monster is sent to the deck and drawn again, they activate their effect. So Boojins, their main thing is to pick up a card at the end and send another card to the graveyard. So basically every time I was doing that, the Saphira on the board was also drawing cards. So it's definitely a hard counter, and I think the first day I got a free time limit win, of course, as I mentioned, but I think I won 2 out of 5. So I was back at duel level 0, and I went to sleep, and I was saying to myself, I have to put Muko in my deck. I don't know if you know what Muko does, but it's basically a trap card that says whenever someone draws cards, everyone looks at them and you discard them. So I was thinking this is going to be set against Sephiroths. I wake up the next day and I still remember to put Muko in my deck, so I do. And then I face 0 Sephiroths. So I lose a ton of games. I switch. I give up on Bujins and I switch over to Snipe Res. When I switch over to Snipe Res, I win 3 in a row and then I lose a bunch more. So then I switch to Dinosaurs. It's my 3rd deck I've used, and I think I've switched back to Bujins once more since, but I went back to Dinosaurs again, and they are getting me my 7,000 right now. Like, I was at 0, and then I wasn't at 0. I was like at 900 or like a few hundred, and then I got my wins back. But I have seen, I think Gladiator Beasts are common, Dinosaurs are common, but I feel like the Sephiroths have all moved up already. They're in the higher DP levels, so I'm kind of dodging them right now. I have seen a Dirac deck, which I guess they're trying to play on the fact that everyone expects Dinosaurs to play a certain way, so they're playing the Diracs, but they're not that good.
Yeah.
Because their main thing is just cheating out a guy with 2200 attack. That's their main gimmick, so it's not that good. I faced Volcanics. I beat that deck, which goes into the thing you mentioned before, about Volcanics maybe not doing so good in this format, maybe more of a tournament deck. Just to say about Bujins, just to end on them. They played very competitive games. The tricks they have, people don't expect them. You could do stuff with Vivid Knight in your hand to swap stuff out. The Centipedes, the Boars, the Fire Formation Gyakus, all really good. It's just I didn't win a ton of the games, but they were very close. Nephis, I've lost against Nephis a few times, so that deck, I mean, we were down at Nephis. Like, it doesn't seem like the best deck, but it has beat me more than I wanted it to. I guess that's one way of putting it. And this Gladiator Beasts are probably the main deck that you face. I feel like people have fewer Saphira. Like, there's like it's harder to make a Saphira deck than a Gladiator Beast deck, but definitely you need to play around that back row, because that's how they play. So for sure. And also this thing that happened to me, this meme thing that happened to me. I played. What was this? Oh yeah. So I was playing this guy who played. I hit into Crystal Seer, and he drew 2 cards. One of them being Magical Merchant. So I was thinking something was up, and this was just a 20-card deck. He sets the Magical Merchant, and I know it's Magical Merchant, but I just go along with it, thinking I'll just win this game before they do it. And they start milling their cards. There's various Kribos. There's Winged Kribo, Sphere Kribo, various Blue Eyes. So this guy mills like 3 Blue Eyes and a Toon Blue Eyes as well. He picks up Final Destiny. If you don't know what Final Destiny does, it's a magic card. Discard 5 cards from your hand. Destroy all cards on the field.
Yes. You know what's funny is I'm pretty sure I just saw you on my replay, because this is sounding very familiar. It wasn't actually you, but I just saw a replay of a very similar deck.
It's catching up.
I'm kind of jealous you got to see it.
Yeah. I had a full back row and I had 2 monsters. So I was thinking, okay, they play Final Destiny. They're not going to beat me with what's in their graveyard. They play Final Destiny, so everything's cleared. And then they play Beacon of White. Beacon of White is an equip card. If you do not control another Beacon of White and you have 3 or more Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, target one of them. Special summon it. It has its effects negated, and equip it with this spell. When this card leaves the field, banish that monster. Other monsters you control cannot attack. Also, if you have any number of Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, the equipped monster can attack up to that number of times during each battle phase. So I got 1 turn killed. The Blue Eyes hit me twice. that explains why there was a Toon Blue Eyes in the deck. Really ridiculous. Yeah, like in the previous Kaiba Cup, I wouldn't have seen this type of deck in it at all.
Yeah, definitely would not have. And it's hilarious because that is definitely the thing. It might have been the same dude. Like, that would have been really funny. But it just sounds like a really cool deck.
Yeah, you just have to find that guy and build it.
I think I can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I have the win condition right here for you. So it depends if you have Beacon of White. I think that's the main limiting reagent. It's possible you don't have it.
I think I do, but yeah.
Beacon of White was one of those cards that they gave you during that campaign where you get to pick one out of 3. I think
it was
we already have one, but the second copy was pickable from that campaign.
I see.
I think it's like a Kaiba or Mokuba level up reward. Right,
yeah. I'm pretty sure we got it from some event, because I think I have some.
But you're never going to lose it because you draw it with Merchant. It just depends if you have the 6 cards for Final Destiny, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But yeah, I'll play some more today, yeah.
That's my kind of meme deck. I'm excited to try it out.
But you can understand the frustration, right? Like where this came out of nowhere completely.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's part of the value of the meme deck is destroying your opponent's hopes and dreams. But like seriously, I'm definitely going to try out something fun like that after I get myself a little bit of self-respect and win like at least a couple games, get into stage 2 and all of that.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, Stage 2 gives you a free SR ticket no matter what rank you are in. So you're getting something.
Yeah.
Alright. So we're just going to continue toiling on in the Kaiba Cup. Hopefully you can get to Stage 2 and you could enjoy, you can face this guy that I faced.
Yeah. Well, in Kaiba Cup, they block your deck. You can't, like, copy someone's deck. So they know. They're playing defense on my attempts to steal that guy's deck.
Yeah.
Rude.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for listening. You can find us on the App Store, Google Play, Stitcher, and others. Check out the podcast and more at our website, theduelassessment.wordpress.com. We have a YouTube channel if you want to check us out there. Patreon.com/duel_assessment if you want to help us out. Email us anything, theduelassessment@gmail.com. Send us tweets, duel_assessment, me at Green Ranger HS, and DeckTech at HS DeckTech.
That's right. Looking forward to hearing from you.
All right, good luck on the Kaiba Cup.
Yep. See you guys next time.